Hey, mic check, mic check, mic check. Hey, mic's working right off the bat. Just a little update. Well, this is what I'm at right now. I think I'm gonna actually cover this up so that you'll only be. It might be glass and wood, but I might build something out here. Uh, I haven't really thought about it, but I might. But right now, I've got this for emeralds. I've got this for iron. Oh, I figured it out. The the auto creator is only in beta. I saw videos on it and I didn't realize they were playing in the beta. So I'm not able to put that in yet. I was really pumped because I'm like, oh, I've been hearing about it for a while, but it's still in beta, and I do not want to get mad at Mojang. They can leave it in beta until it's going to come out and work. I I would much rather wait for it than have them put it in and have it create like umpteen fucking glitches or whatever. But so yeah, it comes down, and then this takes out all the the single stackable, the non-stackables, and then that takes a lot of the shit out of the mix. And I don't have saddles in there to fuck with. And then I get my emeralds, and I get emeralds and iron, and most of these, it's basically all the powders like gunpowder, redstone dust, whatever the yellow stuff is that you make glowstone out of, sugar, I think potions, and string. And then I don't know if I'll fill this up, but I'll probably put, the spider eye or whatever, and then either two or three more. I might just put the rest of them on here, and then put this for stuff that I would maybe add in later, like furnaces or whatever. And it just here's occasionally get a glitch. But considering all the shit that I've dumped out of this is something from building. Uh, this is not bad at all. This is really not bad at all. Um, but I did a little looking. I don't understand it. I literally don't understand it. Uh, there are there's three sources that I've used. I understand them. Whether I have access to them or not is another story. But that Forbidden History, I looked it up on Roku. Here I'm on. When I go to bed, I got a different TV, and it's older. It's got Roku in it. But when I looked it up on Roku, you could separate it by source. If you've used a Roku, you know what I'm talking about. Where Prime, it it would, when I would look them up, it would put everything up, and it said it there were 9 seasons of it, and they were all mixed in. So like you go to season one, and it might be some fucking app I've never heard of, and and it blends them all together whether you have it or not. Where with Roku, I can separate it, and I didn't even bother looking at the ones that I've never heard of because they're probably they're probably pay to view, and I got limits on what I can do. I'm lucky to be able to afford the satellite, so but the the HBO, the Max, whatever it's calling itself now, that has, I think, 3 seasons. And then Prime, that's not that expensive. I have access to that. It's either Max or Prime has 3 seasons of it, and Tubi has two, and the other one of those that I was talking about, either HBO or Max, they only have the other one of those only has like 2 seasons, I think. Might be thunderstorming. Yep, and it's all over the place. They like, and then I looked it up on Dish app, and it's listing 7 seasons, and it's got, I think, all of them, because I've been watching it on Dish. And what I'm gonna have to do is today, later today, maybe I'll go to bed early. I need to try and take notes on it in the bedroom. That laptop is just a piece of shit, but I will try. If not, I might not be able to do it. But what it is, the ones I have, well, none of them had it. None of the ones I've used through the course of my life had it. But there's one where they list, and I swear it was talking about the secret Vatican archives or whatever. Well, I'm not sure that was on the Dish one. I didn't. I honestly didn't see it. Uh, but there's two Mary Magdalene ones, I think, and I thought it was they were just. Might have to watch them. I might have to watch more than one. Uh, oh wait, I can watch the Dish app in here. I don't have to fuck around with the lame ass laptop. Well, the new one ain't really that much better, but at least when it's on, it's working. Oh, and I think I figured that out. It worked perfectly. It did not screw up on me. And then uh, one time, because I light it up, and at first I thought it might have been the power supply, and so I would charge it up when I wasn't running, and then I'd unplug it and I'd run it with just the battery. And I did it for a while, no problems. It ran, it booted, and it ran. And then I'd shut it down when I got done, and I'd let it charge up. Well, after a little bit of that, I ran it with the power on. I still don't think I started up with the power on. I haven't tried that yet. And it worked. And the first time I shut the lid without shutting it off, and my understanding is it's supposed to go into sleep mode. It didn't, it went into the blue screen of death. I had to go through so it's starting up again. The evidence points to the fact, and it would be a hardware thing, that the system does not put it into sleep mode before it shuts down. I'm calling that a hardware glitch. And so it should be, but I don't give a shit. I just won't buy another Dell if they're this fucking stupid. I probably won't be buying anything anyways, um, but that's what so I figured it out. So at least I got that, I think, and it hasn't done it since. And I go in and I shut it down. I don't trust sleep mode, and it's because to me, if it was a software issue, everybody'd be having problems with it, and Microsoft would have issued a fix. So it leads me to believe it's a hard. I'm having a good day somewhat. There's something I know I'm forgetting. I need that remember all from Harry Potter. But the thing is, if I had one, I probably wouldn't remember what it's warning me about, so that wouldn't do me any good. But definitely, there's something in the back of my mind that, and I oh well, maybe they'll whatever it is, maybe it'll come up and I'll remember it or someone will remind me of it or something. But uh, yeah, it is. But the trouble, you've been in here twice. I'm not picking you up anymore. Yeah, yeah. I picked you up twice. Yeah, but so I will be able to get that tape. But I finally found it. Because I looked at first, I went into the stuff we recorded from the dish, and I found it, and I'm like, yeah, this is the one I thought I was looking for, and I went and looked it up on the TV in the bedroom this morning. They just didn't exist. I'm like, what the hell? So apparently there is episodes of that they don't have, and but so I looked on there on Dish. There's a handful of those, more than one or two that I haven't covered that I might actually cover. Just because I find not because I'm a believer necessarily, but I find the theory that the stuff I read in the description it looked interesting, or at least good enough for I am interested in it, but it'll maybe make a good podcast. Um, I I might be off for a little bit. I don't even know for sure, but my brother has either gotten hit by COVID or he's got the worst fucking cold or flu I have seen in my life. I feel good. The cats feel good. So maybe it isn't. The cats have been my canary in a coal mine because they don't have any protection from it. So, you know, I hate to say it, but since they don't have any protection, but they haven't really been breathing heavy or anything else, and they're not vaccinated at all. So maybe it isn't that, but whatever it is, and it can't be. We replaced the filter on his. It's the last one I got. I told him I bought him before my mom. Well, my mom bought him before she passed away, and I let him know that um I told him, I go, if you need those, you're gonna have to pay for them because I've got one that doesn't require a filter, and I'm eventually gonna go up and get it and bring it down here. But he that was the one he had, and I let him, and really they're not that expensive, but he's gonna have to fucking do it. But we just put the last filter in that long ago, but he is sick as shit, and I know he's not faking this because he ain't watching TV. I mean, like I go to bed somewhere between 7 and 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock every night, and it's usually around 8 or 9. And then you've got the extremes where I go to bed earlier. I fell asleep earlier in the day and I go to bed late. But I wake up at anywhere between 11 and 2 or 3, 1 or 2 in the morning, and he's still up. Now, he might fall asleep, but he's still up. And then when he goes to bed, he's got, I don't know if it's fucking something from PragerU. He was listening to, I think, Glenn Beck. And I think he's got a PragerU or something fucking podcast. Yeah, it is what it is, but you're preaching to the choir here. The worst part of it is these fuckers that he's voting against. They're the only ones that are helping him out. You know, I had a friend like this in high school. He was a good friend. He was a good guy. I would give anything to go back to that time, but he voted for people, that fucking wanted him to fucking die. My brother, he votes for these people that basically would rather see him starve to death than give him a fucking nickel in food stamps or other assistance. And it doesn't matter how deserving you are of it, or if you got hooked on painkillers and you fucking threw your health away. They don't care. They literally don't care about you. And he votes for him every fucking chance he gets. But oh well. But the when I go to bed or I wake up, he's off. He's got the TV off and all this other shit. And he gets up in the morning and the TV ain't on. I think he's got it on now, but like most of this morning, he didn't have it on. When I was getting ready for lunch, there was no TV on. Uh, so I might get sick. I don't know. I'm still feeling good. I wore a mask, but I did go to the grocery store yesterday. I did a few more errands. So if I get sick, I don't have to go anywhere for a couple days. But he's had this for, oh God, he's had this for, I think, close to a week. So maybe, even if it is COVID, maybe me and the cats miss it. But I'm not kidding you. They fucking camped out with me. They've been doing it for now. They occasionally go sit with him. I don't notice them doing it since he's noticeably got sick. And like last night, both of them were cuddled up with me in bed, and that's been that way for at least 2 or 3 days. They're in there, so maybe we're sheltering from the storm. But um, every now and then, I thought I could hear the cats, breathing heavy or something, like where they're having breathing difficulties or whatever. But it's gone, so I don't know, but I'm okay. They're okay. Uh, I don't know what's gonna happen to him, but he don't take care of himself. But like you go out, you wear your fucking mask. It's just that simple. And he goes to that dialysis place. Somebody probably brought it in there, passed it around, got everybody fucking taken out. But maybe it isn't COVID. But if it isn't, it's the worst flu I have ever seen, or the worst cold I have ever seen, which it could be. But so far, I've been lucky. Knock on wood. And I've done our usual thing that we do most days, where I cook one meal. I'm paying for it now. When he can, he is providing like a vegetable or French fries. But I'm the one providing the meal. And I cooked one 2 days ago, and it's still in the fridge. He did not eat it. And then yesterday I provided him. It was nothing major, but he didn't eat that. So I'm not gonna bother until he's better. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's eating that much. So if he does survive it, and I don't, it is what it is. But if he survives it, he should be thin again, at least for a while, because he doesn't appear to be eating. And I don't know, but oh well. I'm gonna peace out, and I'm gonna let you go. Hey, seriously, write your congressman, ask them to legalize assisted suicide. Now is a good time. There's there's some that are doing this. Hey, if thoughts and prayers work for our kids when they're getting shot in school, why don't we send thoughts and prayers to the border instead of wasting all this money? Because they did this. I forgot about it. I honestly forgot about it. But they did this fear of immigrants coming back when I don't know if it was one of Obama's terms or if they did it to Hillary, but they did this. They've done this before, and then they just, oh my God, the fucking hordes are screaming across the border and all, and then so the Democrats really bit the bullet. They really chose the lesser of two evils, the Republican bullshit or passing, draconian legislation. They took the draconian legislation. And then when they got to it, Donald Trump and the House Republicans said no. And they're really, and that was, God bless her, Kristen Sinema is like, well, there's really no emergency at the border then. We negotiated a bill in good faith and you shot it down, so you can't claim that there's an emergency at the border. And that's when it started coming on. I'm not saying she's the one who started, but she was on board with it when somebody pointed out that they did this shit before, where they created this fucking boogeyman of the fucking Mexican specter coming across the border to take everybody's jobs, and they did it once before. And the other one is to write your congressman and get them to pass Chuck Schumer and that other Republican's amendment to for disclosure, for eminent domain of all alien stuff. Let them know we need that. And there was something going on. Somebody pointed out, I don't remember, we'll just call him some dumb fuck. We'll go by his internet code name. He pointed out that we've got F-16s going to Ukraine. And I go, well, when are they going to send over the A-10 Warthogs? Because my understanding is we no longer need them. They've got a... I don't really know the whole details, but they've got they've got an upgrade to the A-10 Warthog. I forget what they call it, but I don't know if it's A10A or B or something like that, but it's a modification, or it's a brand new A-10 Warthog, and I can't go into detail because I don't remember the details. If I was healthy, even when I'm having good days, it's still not perfect. But if I was healthier or healthy, I could probably remember more of them. But it's got better material it's made out of. Like it can take more. It can stay longer in a firefight. It can take more shots than the old one. And it's just better in every way, and so we don't need the old A-10 Warthogs. And and I'm like, and the guy, he goes, oh, the Su-25 is pretty much identical, so there's no reason to send it, blah blah blah. And I looked it up just in case I didn't know that much about the A-10 or the Su-25 Frogfoot or something like that. I looked it up. Well, the A-10 Warthog consistently fucking lifts. Its payload capacity is enormously different than the other one, so you can carry a lot more ammunition. I mean, it's not like a couple 100 pounds. It's significantly more. And the other thing is, Scott, I might be wrong. I might be remembering it wrong, but I think it's like 20,000 or 22,000 flight cap increase. So it can fly higher than what the other one can. And now the other one's smaller, but they both are hard targets to hit. The SU-25 is faster, but they even admitted that the 30 millimeter cannon on it is pretty good, but with the smaller ammo capacity, really makes it a lot weaker than what the A10 can. So I pointed it out, and he seems to be one of these dumb fucks that just doesn't want to admit when he's wrong. Well, then he put in there that, oh, well, they're going to have to retrain him on that, and and that takes a lot of, because you need people and blah blah blah, and it's got different weapons, and and the weapons they have won't work. Well, you don't know they won't work on it because you're already a dumb fuck. But I'm like, wait a minute, everything you just said is true about the F-16. I mean, the everything, the fact that they might have to have new weapons and so on, and you got to retrain the pilots on it because everything's in fucking English, and I'm like, oh my god, are you really this fucking stupid? Everything you said is true for the F-16, and they're doing that, and so I responded to him. I'm like, yeah, the you might not be aware of this, but I go, Ukraine is in the middle of a fight with Russia, and I go, they're having trouble making ammunition. Planes are a lot harder to build than ammunition. So having a supply of weapons that you can't build might be a good thing. And there's some other dumb fuck. They either fucking blocked me, or I'm not seeing their shit anymore. But I pointed out that uh, Smith. I really hope he's gathering evidence to arrest the Judge Cannon down there in Florida. I hope he's gathering evidence to arrest her for being an accomplice of Trump's, being an accessory after the fact, obstruction of justice, whatever they can. And I don't, I'm not criticizing him, but I did reach out to MSNBC like, hey, can you have one of your legal experts look at this? Because I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is just a good idea in my head, or if it's actually a good idea, because Midas Touch pointed out that she seems to have, when she got, well, I'll get into this in a minute, but she seemed to learn the wrong lesson when the 11th Circuit basically spiked her football, and they basically found that they had to overturn her decision. And he was pointing out that she seems to have learned the exact opposite lesson, because there's shit she should have had done months ago. And she seems to have taken the lesson. Well, I'll just do everything in paperless scheduling orders. I will resist doing anything meaningful, because they generally don't fucking overturn those. So she's like found the loophole in the system, like Trump. It doesn't work as much in a federal court, but like in state court, he's figured out how to game the system. You basically sue them and you file all these motions. Well, it turns it into a circus, and I want to say I don't really have a dog in the fight, but back when I was working, like back in my 20s, mid 20s, there oh, it was my boss. He was a good guy. He was my boss. He got in trouble for a drunk driving ticket. It it was not an isolated incident, but he asked me to. I don't know what they call it. It's a work release program. We call it this is just a total local thing. I don't. It. I think the name of the facility was named after. They named someone, like it was probably money was given to it by the family, but we call it the Huber Dome, I think. is something that if that isn't it, it's close. And it's the work release program. It's where if you are in the well if you're in the Huber program or whatever it is. What I think I've got it right, but I'm at least close. But if you're in the work release program, this is where you get dropped off. It's separate. It's outside of jail. You live there. Then when you get released, when you can go to work, and you've got a certain amount. You basically get out like an hour or two early so you can get to work, and then after work you got like an hour or two. You got a couple hours free. You got to get back to the Hubie dorm. And so if you need to go to the bank or get or whatever, you can do it. And the he was in there and he wanted to know. He goes, "Hey, I think I only had to do it once or twice, but he goes, "Hey, if you don't want to, I completely understand." But he goes, "Can you give me a ride home and or a ride to the Huber dorm?" And I go, "Well, where is it?" Because I had heard of it, but I didn't know where it was. And he told me it's right over by Rock County Sheriff's Department. And I go, "Oh." And I go, "Is it that building?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Oh, okay, I know where it is. I just didn't know what it was." And I go, "Yeah, I can drive you home." And then I told him, I go, "Hey, unless I have to go somewhere else, if I'm just going straight home after third shift, we were working. I go, unless I have to go somewhere else, I go, I can give you a ride home anytime you want because I go, this is kind of on the way." He goes, "Really?" I go, "Well, I don't normally go this way, but I go, I can just go another way." And I go, it's not really out of the way. It might add 5 minutes to the drive. I go literally, it might add 5 minutes to the drive, but I go, I can go home this way. And he goes, "Well, I'll keep that in mind. I won't bug you unless I really need it, but I'll keep it in mind." Well, I go, "You get another DWI?" And he's like, "No, this is like the one from it was like like a year and a half or 2 years ago. He's got a lawyer who tied it up in court." And that's what Trump would do. Well, he's doing his level best trying to do it again. And that appeals court that that denied his case for absolute immunity, they put a stop to it. They told him he normally it's like you got a month to appeal. He said I think he's got till next Monday. He's got to file it Monday to appeal it, and then the Supreme Court can either reject it, they can hear the case, and they were saying that it takes four judges to grant cert, meaning they'll hear it, but it takes five for them to stay the case. And I think the odds-on favorite is that they are not going to get the five votes to stay it. So that means Monday, by the end of the day, Monday, now it might not happen Monday, but Monday it is fully expected that it is going to start the clock on his DC trial. And but this Judge Shutkin down in Florida, she's doing this shit like there was something she ordered and they had to respond by the 3rd of November, like 3 months ago. And Trump and his lawyers didn't have it done. They didn't turn it in. Well, that usually gets you into trouble with the judge. And so Jack Smith filed. And she goes, "Oh, well, we'll just put that on hold." There is SEPA Section 4 or whatever. And whatever, I don't know. I can't tell you what it stands for, but that is, it's got to do with the classified secrets. And by law, it's just between the prosecution and the judge. Well, this is something that like a month or two ago it should have been dealt with, and she hasn't even had a hearing on it. There's another one. The Jack Smith, the prosecutor, he filed a motion, and it should have been granted. He wanted to put Trump on notice. He had until, and it's already passed. I think it was in December or January. He was supposed to. Trump was supposed to decide whether he was going to use, ineffective lawyering or whatever as a defense, because and the prosecutor's right as far as I know. There's nobody arguing. Oh, he's fucking crazy. He needs to know, because if he's gonna use ineffective counsel, that voids the that voids the that voids like pretty much all uh, it's that lawyer-client privilege. I forget what it's called, but I'm gonna end the stream pretty quick, I think. But he it voids that attorney-client privilege, because the prosecution has a right to discovery to get ready for it, and she fucked around with that. And this might, but again, I'm not. And here's the thing, and this is what I finally I tried to be polite for at least one or two times, and after a while you get tired of the dumb. I'm not getting paid to be your fucking idiot savant, to being the fucking idiot worshiper here, whisperer here. But I finally got it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I go, are you a Russian troll, or are you just a useful fucking idiot? Because I go, the 11th Circuit, I go, I've already said this. Because I go, the 11th Circuit has failed to act. I go, they basically found that she acted unlawfully. That's what, when she was, it goes either this case or was another case when she ordered the special master for stuff. The 11th Circuit, the appeals court, they found that she was acting lawlessly. And to me, they should have, anything involving her and Trump, they should have kept an eye on it. They should have just, kept an eye on it. And they haven't. Because, like, Judge Cannon down there, she has done stuff on her own. Judge Chutkan has warned Trump that she will keep an eye on his behavior, and she won't wait. So she said, I forget what they call it, but it's where the judge acts on its own. And Judge Chutkan said, hey, if you fuck around, if you violate your bond conditions, I might act on my own. I might not wait for prosecutor to file paperwork. So they should have kept an eye on her ass, and they should have ended this a long time ago. I mean, and I go, and this is what the whole thing was about. I go, look, since the 11th Circuit hasn't done anything, and the legal experts are saying that Jack Smith doesn't really have I mean, yeah, it's a difference between what is and what's the law. She's a greasy piece of shit. That's beyond doubt, I think. My opinion, anyways. But it isn't enough to bitch for appeals. So he can't act yet. Well, this idea of bringing her up on charges, that looks, and again, look at it this way. If it's true, it would send a good message that, like Trump, the judges are not above the law. They're not kings. They're not immune to the law. And it would send a message to the Supreme Court, hey, we can do this to you too. Because they're taking bribes. I mean, just again, maybe there's nothing in place, but at least get some legal people to look at it. It's just something they've always. This is another thing. Find judges disbarable. Just if you can submit sanctions against prosecutors, you should be able to put sanctions against judges. And I don't know. But it's at least not, because here's the thing: we are living in a time where you've got somebody, him and his henchmen, him and his crime family, are looking to exploit the system. And if this dumb fuck and everybody in elected office, if they, this reminds me, I think he's in the Lincoln Project group, but there was a Republican or a former Republican that was helping them get ready for the 2020 election. And he was on the news, and they go, and he just said, he goes, I'm actually getting worried because we keep telling them this is what you got, and this is the way I feel. They keep telling them that they got to worry about this, that, or the other thing, and they go, well, he can't do that. That's illegal. What part of he doesn't give a fuck about the law? You know, they were building. You know, I just want to get this out, and then we'll revisit it, and then I'm pretty much done. They they were illegally getting batches of alternate electors. They were illegally planning on sabotaging the due process so that they could fucking monkey fuck around with the ballots and then basically steal the election, you know. And my understanding is that this was something that they were going to do during. They had this all planned out during Bush v. Gore because they were ready to do this if the Supreme Court didn't steal the election for them. The Supreme Court stealing it was Plan A. Plan B was this elector scheme. That Joy Reid, thank her, but Joy Reid, she's the one who pointed that out, and they were building a fucking gallows. I mean, they weren't just yelling Mike Pence. They built the fucking gallows. They had everybody. They had all these Republicans, Marge and other ones running around. It's 1776. They were given recon tours. You know, you had the vice president's chief of staff or whatever, who when he found out Mike Johnson, fucking senator from my state, he was somebody he was talking to wanted to send Mike Johnson over. Well, what does he need to meet with? Well, when he found out it was the paperwork for the election, he told him no, do not send that over. The vice president, chief of staff knew this like a day or two ahead of time. He didn't warn anybody, but then again, you know, it was the president. You couldn't really warn anybody without giving yourself. I don't know. I'm not really saying there's any good answers, but these people, the whole gang of them, have been constantly looking for a way to get around the established system. And I'm sorry, but at a certain point, I'm actually worried that you've got these dumb fucks that these dumb fucks are going to be like, well, we can't do that. That'd be illegal. Well, yeah, then we're going to lose our country. We have to be right every time. They only got to be right once. They're terrorists. They're terrorists. We have to be right every time. They only have to be right once, and our country falls. Um, you know, and I just that was this whole thing that was getting me. It's like, my God, we're gonna. Well, and he claimed to be a liberal. I think he might have been a Russian troll, and who knows? Maybe he was really that fucking stupid. But um, you know, if it's true, if he really is that fucking dumb and he's a liberal or whatever, uh, we're gonna we're, we're gonna lose our country because you got people that are just too dumb in this country to see the fucking for the truth for what it is. And yesterday, I caught part of it. Part of it was when I was out at the grocery store. But for a little bit, I watched a couple hours of the recap of it. Um, these judges were sitting around acting like this was a whole class and an exercise in class, like they were law professors teaching class, and they seemed to quibble about whether it should have been established. Hey, he committed insurrection. That's not up for debate. But they seem to entertain the idea from the Donald Trump's lawyer, who he actually looked like he did a good job. He wasn't the fucking train wreck. He wasn't the fucking train wreck that we've seen in Haba and the other ones. But they should have shut him down. They should have said, "Yeah, we're not entertaining this idea that he's not a fucking insurrectionist." And but they were acting like, "Oh, well, what would be the outcome if we did this?" And they said stuff like, "Well, if we grant your," and this was the Colorado lawyer, "if we grant your position, then that would mean Colorado's is going to be able to pick whoever they want for president." And he didn't do it, but it's like, my God, he should have said, he's like, "No, all we're saying is anybody who's guilty of insurrection, who's guilty of violating the 14th Amendment, Section 3, can't be." That's all we're saying. And we're saying, if there's someone who isn't old enough to be president, if there's somebody who's not a naturalized citizen, they can't be president. That's all we're saying. And to me, the argument shouldn't just be Trump. The Supreme Court should take up everything. They should be like, well, okay, Trump's guilty of insurrection. That's established fact for the argument of this case. Does it apply to him? And they should overwhelmingly figure out, yes, it applies to him. Instead of them worrying about whether voters are pissed off, that's nothing that they should be doing. And but again, it's like, oh my God, they were sitting there with a plan to attack Congress. They were inside the building. They were building a gallows. They were running around chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." They were announcing that Nancy Pelosi and others, they were going to drag him out and hang him. This is like that job in Michigan. They were going to arrest the governor, put her on a fake little show trial, and they were going to execute her. And they got off too. It's the same fucking thing. They got off. This is not an exercise. The threat is real. You look at Cannon, they're in Congress, they're in the courts. Hell, Thomas, his wife Ginny, was part of it. The court system's compromised. The legislative branch is compromised. The fucking FBI is compromised because there were 2 rooms that they knew about, and they just said, "Fuck it, we won't search those." Some of the most damaging secrets that he took are probably were in there, but they didn't kick the door in. What part of search warrant do you not understand? They're in the military. They're in the FBI. This is a real fucking problem. And in a way, I'm glad that my health isn't good, because, I don't have that much. I don't think I have that much. I don't know if it's gonna be, like 2 months. I could have a fucking stroke next month. I don't know if I'm gonna have a stroke in a month. I don't know if I'm going to have a stroke or some other complication in 5, 10 years. If you guys get that legalized assisted suicide, I'll have more options. But I just don't have that much. I don't really have that much. But we got kids. We got people that are healthy that got their whole lives ahead of them. You got to wake the fuck up, people. And like these judges, they're like, "Oh, well, what do we," and it's like, my God, here, and again, I don't know if they can even argue that. I know there's protocol and shit, but I'm not a lawyer, okay? So I'm gonna take this. But they should have been able to go to them lawyers. It's like, well, uh, when they investigated those Proud Boys and they got the plans and all that, I'm pretty sure that they had planned on going to the Supreme Court just as soon as they finished with the Congress. And he should have reminded them. He should have reminded them, like Trump, uh, every time the people that are in office have become unuseful to him, he's thrown them under the fucking bus. Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, Cohen. Um, and they should have, and they should have told him, hey, these people were coming for you next. That's this threat is real. You guys are as much a target. Yeah, you fuck with my stream. Yeah, you fuck with my stream. But that was fucking wrong. But he learned. He learned. He's staying the fuck away from me now. But but and the only thing I can say is if they do not find, I mean, it's the Republicans too, but the fucking Democrats, at least two of the fucking three Democrats on the Supreme Court, they were acting like this wasn't that big of a deal. And I'm like, you know what? If they vote to appease him and his little fucking dictator terrorist base, all I can say is if this happens again, I hope they get a closer look at that fucking gallows. Just for their fucking stupidity, because in my mind, again, maybe we're wrong, maybe because that guy who the lawyer from Colorado, he said that the Supreme Court in Colorado asked tough questions too, and then they turned around and said he can't be on the ballot. But it just if I mean again like you've got these people, and there's Republicans that are saying that there's a lot of Republicans that are scared shitless of Trump, and they're going along with him, but they're scared shitless. Well, they brought this on themselves. They brought this on themselves because they had two chances to impeach him. He was guilty as sin both times. They didn't do it. So and like Scalise got shot in that base softball game or whatever they. You know what? I don't want to see Democrats get hurt, but if any of these fucking nut jobs fucking shoot a Republican, they got no one to blame but themselves. They could have put this down when it was small, and it's gotten completely out of hand. And it's the same thing with the Supreme Court. Like, look, here's your time. You guys got a chance to fucking bury this and put it to bed. And they want to know, like, well, what happens if we do this? Well, I tell you what, it's just like Trump. Uh, if you do this, maybe it doesn't happen again. I mean, you got them talking about Civil War 2.0. But maybe if you and the thing is, it ain't just Trump. It's this whole little MAGA crowd. There's a whole bunch of people in Congress. There's not as many, but there's a few in the Senate. If you go through and find them all unable to serve ever again, maybe it fixes this. And just like Trump, if you pardon him, all you're doing is you're basically saying, hey, this insurrection was practice. Let's do the real one. Same thing that was Hitler. Hitler failed, I think, once before, and he didn't succeed on his first attempt. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but if you know, if you put him in jail, if you put his other people in jail, maybe it sends a message that this is the wrong thing to do. But even if Trump doesn't get back in office, you know, again, we got to be right every time. They only got to be right once. If you don't send this message that this is wrong, you know, when you start talking about civil war, when you start talking about seceding from the Union, those are all things that should grant, you know, you, not that, you know, that should all be things that you are found guilty of sedition. You know, when your state's doing it, you should lose all military. Can't have the military in a state that's fucking talking crazy like that. And you know, and then if there is a civil war, you've got the military in the good states, not the fucking crazy states. I don't know. I just don't know. But yeah, that's all I can hope is if they fuck up and they allow them to do this again, I just hope they pay for their fucking stupidity. And again, Merrick Garland's in that list, the Supreme Court. Again, I'm just saying, but they have let us down. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll do the right thing, but yesterday all the experts. I mean, even George Conway. He was saying that some deal has been worked out at the Supreme Court where they'll all find him his immunity claim to be shit, and then they'll all find that he can stay on the ballot. Well, I don't get. I missed that part of the Constitution where they made deals to decide which amendments are invalid. Can we have one of those deals on the Second Amendment so our kids can stop getting killed in school? You know, can we have one of those deals on the First Amendment so we can stop this fucking talk of traitors and shit? I don't see them doing that. If this is such a great thing for everybody, why aren't we doing that other one? But I don't remember reading that part of the Constitution that said the Supreme Court could make deals to determine what amendments are valid and not. You know, and somebody, I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of the guys on CNN. He's a black gentleman. I don't know if he's a former football player, but he's a black gentleman with glasses. He was saying that if Obama had rised up like 10,000 BLM or Black Panthers to fucking storm the Capitol, he'd be in jail. He wouldn't be able to run for election. He would have been indicted, you know, at light speed after. It wouldn't have been like 3 years later. And I'm like, you know, he's right. He's right. If Obama had done this and it had involved the black, he'd be in jail, and he'd been indicted. He'd be awaiting trial. He would not be allowed to be on the ballot. And that's another thing. He said, well, what he says, hey, Colorado guy should say, hey, if Obama had done this, if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't even be taking up the case. You'd be like, yeah, he can't be on the ballot. He wouldn't be running around, mouthing off, insulting judges, attacking prosecutors, attacking judges' staff. He'd be in jail. And I don't, it gets old, but I, I just worry. Again, it ain't that much for me because my health isn't good. But my God, I hate to say this, but think about the kids. Think about the people that have a future. And I don't know. Peace out. I'll hopefully be on this week, and if not, I will try and get that episode ready for Monday. Peace out. Take care.